How you guys doing today? It's Master Mark Kanaar here for another one of my master's messages. Now, I've been talking about how to become authentic through the martial arts. And the second thing I want to talk about is after you take action, what can happen. Now, one of the things is when I take action, I take a lot of action. I do as much as I possibly can. You know, some people work 40 hours a week. That to me is like part-time. You got to really put everything you got into it. And if you're going to work, putting in the 80 hours a week is going to double what a person doing 40 hours is going to do. But you have to stay motivated, And one of the things you have to know is that just because you're doing things doesn't mean that you're being productive. So one of the things that I do is I always make sure that I put down goals of what I need to accomplish each week in order for me to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. Because if I get distracted or my mind gets to drifting, I'm not going to be able to take the action I need to become successful. And when people first sign up for martial arts, a lot of times they start out and they start training a lot because they really love it. They're learning a lot of new stuff. And what happens is that their body gets really sore. And I want to talk about that too. So basically what's going to happen when you take a lot of action, you're going to end up going to have a lot of problems too. And in business, I run 4 martial arts schools. There's a lot of difficult things I have to figure out. And the problems that I have to come across, I can't look at it in such a negative way. I have to figure out how to solve it. And every time I solve a problem, it gives me more experience to solve that problem faster. And you have to sit down and think, how am I going to solve this problem? When you train in martial arts, you're going to be really, really sore the first couple days, especially if you start to train and you really want to know what to do in order to kind of get your muscles loosened up again and everything like that. For breakfast, I eat a lot of eggs or like chicken, good protein to help your muscles heal fast. And if I'm really sore, I'll take a really hot bath with Epsom salt or something like that to kind of loosen up. Now, if I don't let that, I can't really be productive because I'm so sore. And I had to figure out when this first started happening to me, how to kind of heal faster. That was really important. I remember when I was training 7 hours every single day, sometimes I would literally take ice baths just sitting in there to try to get my legs and body all loosened up again. And I know that seems kind of extreme, but I knew that if I didn't do that in the next couple of days, I wouldn't be walking around or being able to do anything like that. And in life, you have to think of the same thing. You run into these problems, you got to sit down and solve them. If you don't solve them, they're just going to keep reoccurring. You kind of throw a blind eye to them. Pretty soon they're going to become some major, massive problems. You can't do that. You got to sit down and think, what's the best solution that you can do? And one of the things I tell the students is the smartest person isn't the person that knows all the information in the book or can answer trivial questions. The smartest person out there is the person that can solve the problem the fastest and get the best results, get the best outcomes for everybody. So if you're taking massive action, you're taking a huge amount of action, you got to realize you're going to have a lot of troubles, you're going to have a lot of problems. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's going to make you learn. It's going to make you smarter. It's going to give you experience. And ultimately, it's going to make you wiser. The person that solved the most amount of problems is going to have the most experience. They're not going to get emotionally upset when things don't go their way. You have to stay very, very relaxed. I remember a while ago, I was at a restaurant and there was a fight there. And I walked up to the people and I kind of broke the fight up. And some of the people there were like, wow, you were really relaxed. You didn't seem like you were really, really scared. And it's from training, and doing the jiu-jitsu, the taekwondo, the karate for years and years and years. I've been hit. I wrestle pro MMA fighters all the time. They're tough guys. And I put myself in that situation to have tough problems. So when a problem like this arises, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to get nervous. And you got to think about that when you start to take action. If you want to be successful, the more action that you take, the more problems you're going to have. That's the honest to God truth. Don't think if you take massive action, or you take a lot of action, or you just go all out, you know what? And you don't have any problems, you're not really going towards the goals that you're designed to go for. That's just how it is. And I want you guys to realize that. So the more action you take, the more problems you're going to have. And you have to make sure that you think about what somebody else is doing. Let's say, your buddy's working 40 hours a week, work 80 or 100 hours. You're going to get the same stuff accomplished that guy does in a whole year in 6 months to 4 months time. and people are going to see you moving. They're going to see your motivation. You're going to see your enthusiasm. And when you start to do that, it becomes habit where you're like, this isn't even anything. This isn't tough at all. I remember when I was 16 and I got my first job at Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers in Birch Run, and I got done with a 4-hour shift and I was exhausted. Now, during the school year, I'll get at the high school at 7 a.m. in the morning and I'll work all the way till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night teaching martial arts. And it's not that I need the money, so to speak. It's because I want to always be in an environment where I'm teaching, because I think if I teach a lot and I teach the most, I'll have the most experience and I'll be the best teacher for my athletes up here. I don't want my mind to get lazy. I don't want to get my body to get lazy. I don't want my spirit to get lazy. I want to put in as much effort as I can. And you got to remember, time is the most valuable thing you have. That's the most valuable thing. Everybody thinks money is the most valuable thing or possessions. No, it's time. Okay? You cannot buy back time. That's the way that it is. And you could think about it. There's probably somebody that you really cared about in life that passed on to the other side, and you would give anything to sit down and talk to that person for an hour. I know I would. And that's what you have to realize. So you have to make sure that your time is focused. You have to make goals to make sure you're traveling to the right area where you want to go, where you want your energy to go. And then you have to put in as much effort as you can. And don't get discouraged, because when you put in a lot of effort, you're going to have a lot of problems. Just remember, sit back, relax, and solve them. The person that's relaxed can think clearly. If you get angry, you're not going to think clearly. You're going to be blowing up at people, and people aren't going to want to be around like that. They want to be around people like that. People that blow fuses are often left in the dark, and that's what you have to realize. And some people that lose their temper, you have to remember, they're going through a lot of stuff and they're just not able to react correctly. And I want you guys to know that, to remember that. It's very, very important. So let's review. Number 1, do as much work as possible. Number 2, make sure you goal set to make sure that energy is going to where you're trying to accomplish. And number 3, you're going to have problems. Don't lose your temper. Don't get frustrated. If you start to have a lot of problems, know you're going in the right direction. That's the truth. That's the case. And when you put in all that energy, it starts to help you become more authentic, not just in the martial arts, but in life. And like I said, have a performance mindset. Everything's a performance. Don't survive. Think about performing. Express yourself freely and do what you love. Do what you're passionate about. That's what being authentic is all about, is that passionate desire to become successful and knowing who you are. So remember that. Remember, taking action, put as much effort as you possibly can in, goal set correctly, and you're ultimately going to start to have a lot of problems, but relax and sit down and solve them. Your mind is the most powerful thing you have, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.